Hey everyone, it's Mr. Canfield. Today we're going to be looking at how to use statlet and what the overview of this project is. So if you go in and look at this, you should have a handout of this too to actually do everything. But we'll start out. It's got a spot for your name, your question, a place to record your data. Because I think it'll be easier to record it on paper before you use your computer. But if you want to just record it into your computer, that's fine. After you record your data, you'll be watching this video and doing this part. So then there are follow-up questions after you do everything else. So these should be in a Google Doc or Google Slides or some kind of digital form to answer each of these. The reason why I'm thinking a Google Doc might be good or slides or something, you're going to eventually be creating an advertisement that goes along with all of this. So I'll get to that in a little bit. I am going to go through the entire project, try to talk through everything that you're supposed to do today. So there's going to be a video. Oh, wait, that's the link to this current video that you're watching right now. So, oops, sorry. How do you statlet? I'm going to change that name to, I'm going to change that video to match what I'm actually doing. So this is statlet. Looks like it works in Schoology. I'm not used to that. I'm used to things taking me to an external website. So I'm just going to pretend that it took me to an external website because that's what I'm used to. But you can either work on it in here or on the actual website. But this says one quantitative variable single group. Basically what I did was there's this cool website called Statlet, and there's a bunch of different options, and I just brought you into the one that we need for this class. So what you'll do is first you'll have variable names. So this is whatever your question was. So how many minutes does it take you to get ready in the morning? Could be your question, or whatever your question is. You're going to leave input as raw data, so you don't even need to click that. And here you're going to put down all the answers that people gave you to their survey. And they're supposed to be numbers. So one person says 10, somebody else says 5, one person says 50, one person says it's an hour and a half, which is 90 minutes, somebody else is 40 minutes, somebody else is 30 minutes, somebody else is 3 minutes, somebody else is 12 minutes, somebody else is 100 minutes. And but whatever your actual numbers are, you go in, you write them in. Somebody else is weird and knows it's actually 33. Like they have, okay, cool. We have these exact numbers, whatever. All right, I got this stuff. And then I just click begin analysis. And you'll see the very first, you know what? Let me make my data a little bit more helpful. And then I'm going to delete okay. So here's my data. And you'll notice it gives us a box plot at the very beginning. So what you're going to want to do is in your Google Doc that you're working on, or slides. Maybe you want to do slides. It's a personal preference thing. Since I give you guys handouts in here, I use Google Docs quite often. So I personally would like to make a Google Doc. Use your screenshot tool and get a screenshot of this. And if you can't do that, you could always draw it by hand. And you could do all of this by hand if you'd rather, and just kind of take this and put it on a piece of paper. You can take some graph paper that I have and use graph paper if you want. But whatever screenshot tool you have, and if you're not sure how, you can look it up or find somebody else who knows how. But I've seen students using screenshot tools on their Chromebooks where it lets them just take a piece of this. And so, like at the top of mine, I'd make sure to have my name, Mr. Canfield, and then I'd have my question, which would be let me copy paste my question. That's going to take me less time. So let's see, boom, my question, copy paste. So here's so how many minutes until you get ready in the morning? And then I'd have, let me put my data in here. So I'll say data, bam, and then I'll have my dot plot. There's my dot plot, and I'm going to make mine a little bit bigger. Okay, so there's my dot plot. And then the cool thing is now I can go over here and I just click histogram. There's my histogram. And I can use my screen grab tool and bam, get my histogram. Hopefully you get what I'm doing now. Get my histogram and then get my box plot. So don't click show box plot here. It puts it up there, but box plot. Okay, so my box plot has some weirdness to it that we didn't talk about together, and that is it's got these dots on it. Those dots are kind of like outliers. A majority of the data is, sometimes it can be a little finicky to copy paste stuff into Google Docs. But I believe in you. I believe you'll figure it out. So there's my dot plot, there's my histogram, and then here's my box plot. So what I understand about these is that these are outliers that would make the whiskers exceptionally long, so we kind of leave them out of the whiskers. And there's roughly 25% of the data in each of these sections. Cool. And then look at this. We got this too. So this is a summary of my data. The only one of these that I don't actually care about is the SD. That stands for standard deviation. We will be talking about that more later, but right now that may as well be meaningless to us. We don't know what that means. But minimum was minimum. Q1, remember, that was the beginning of the box. Median was the middle of the box. Q3 was the end of the box, and max was normally the end of the whisker, but here it's up here because I had a couple people that take a very long time to get ready in the morning on my pretend survey. But again, you're going to do it for real. It's so much more interesting if you do it for real. So this is my data summary. Sometimes they'll call this the 5-number summary in here, from min to max, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, those 5 numbers. An N over here, that's just the number of people I asked. So I typed in 20 numbers up here. Okay, so that's all that. Let's go back to our assignment and see what else there is to do. So I went through, I took my survey, I brought all my data in here, and I'm hoping you'll make it look a little nicer than I did, because I am trying to do this video very, very quickly for you, because I find shorter videos are more easy to pay attention to. All right, this is actually the second video I'm making of this because I didn't really like the first one. So we got our data, we did that. So you want the mean, median, mode, and range. Now, you actually have mean and median right here. Mean is that. And remember, mean is just you add them all up, divided by how many, and the computer does it for us. Median is the middle of the data, the middle number. If I take all the numbers, line them up, the one that would be in the middle is 32.5. And the reason why I'm getting 32.5 is because if I line all these up, the middle is between 32 and 33. So that's why 32 and 33 are the middle numbers, and you have to take the halfway point between them. So that means half of the data is above 32.5, and half of the people were below 32.5. So that's what median is. Mode just means the number that occurs the most. So I go in here, which one of these occurred the most? And you just count. So it looks like 30, oh, it looks like 32. I have the most 32s. So 32 would be my mode. And range. Range means take the highest number you have, take the lowest number you have, and subtract them. So the highest I had was 100. The lowest I had was 3. I would subtract 100 minus 3, and I'd get 97. That'd be my range. And that's what I would write for these. So mean, and it's a little bit silly because it's right there, but so 36.15, median 32.5, mode, I think I said it was 32, range, I believe I just said it was 97. Okay, that's my 5-number summary. Does your data have any clusters? So if I go look at my data, let me go back to my dot plot. It's really helpful here. Do I have any clusters? Looks like around here in the low 30s there's a cluster. And why? Where are they, and why might they be clustered there? So why? So again, this is pretend data, but I think there's a good reason to say most people take around a half an hour because, 5 minutes to, do this, 5 minutes to do that, but a half an hour is a reasonable amount of time to get ready, get dressed, to make yourself look presentable for the world. Are there any outliers? Why did they occur? So if I look at my data, I have really high outliers, I have really low outliers. And so for me, that's like, well, really low outliers are person rolls out of bed, gets dressed, and goes to school, And the really high outliers are like, well, those are people who spend a long time getting ready, or they take a long time to wake up. There's no prescribed answer. I don't have an answer in mind for you here. This is a chance for you to think about your data and why do you think those numbers happen. And there might not be any outliers. There might not be any clusters. For 2 and 3, if there aren't any, why aren't there any? Is the piece of data you're looking at so diverse that of course you're not going to have clusters of people? And I can't actually think of a number that would be like that right now, but maybe that's the case. Or maybe there aren't any outliers because I really hope you didn't survey how many legs do you have, but if you survey how many legs do you have, you can have almost 100% saying 2. So depending on what you survey, there might not really be outliers. How could you use this information to sell something to people? Okay, so assuming your question is interesting enough, we're going to be able to sell something. So, and I'm making this up right now. I did not plan this ahead of time to tell you what I'm telling you because I made up this question at the beginning of this video. So, according to my data, people take about a half an hour to get ready. So, maybe I could make some kind of product or sell some kind of product that takes roughly half, like you push a button and in half an hour you have this. So, or 30 minutes or less or something. Or, so like, I don't know, have a really nice Starbucks drink that's made for you in 30, like you push a button and it's done in 30 minutes. It's actually a pretty long time. I think they do things faster than that. But maybe, you know what? Maybe 20-minute laundry refresher if they already make that. See, I'm thinking of things that people have already made. But something that would either shorten the amount of time it takes you to get ready in the morning or anything like that. You get to be a little bit creative, but in what you're thinking about here. Something that chops 5 minutes off of your getting ready time in the morning or something. And then how could you mislead people by telling them facts about your data? So, and that's where, even though the bulk of my data is here, what is something that I could use and spin it in such a way that that turns it into a lie? And I have a perfect one right now with these 2 made-up people up here. And my lie that I would say is, did you know that Americans, I would say many Americans spend over an hour getting ready in the morning? How vain are those people? And if you take more than an hour to get ready in the morning, I'm not calling you vain. I'm using this to spin it to spread an agenda instead of telling the truth. Can you imagine the vanity of somebody taking over an hour getting ready in the morning? Look at all these people who take over an hour to get ready in the morning. So that's one lie I could use to spend or use to say. Another one I could say is, life in America is so easy. People only need to take 3 minutes to get ready in the morning because that one person only takes 3 minutes to get ready in the morning. So I could use either extreme here and tell a story where it sounds like things are either way more extreme than they are in taking a lot longer or a lot shorter. There's way many other ways that we could spin things. And the reason why I'm having you do this is because I want you to be able to be more perceptive about it in your real life, because this happens to us. People talk to us using data, acting like they're telling us the whole truth, but they're really only telling us partial truths about the data. All right. So that's what you'll be writing about next. That's what you'll be doing next. And then the last one, I was kind of excited about this. After you've done this, make an advertisement that targets these people. So if you look at your data, how many minutes does it take you to get ready in the morning? Okay, well, I've thought about a product that could help making breakfast go 5 minutes faster. Now I'm going to make a pretend advertisement for that. You can use clip art. You can find things, draw things. You can use Google Drawing, but or you could have it be like a radio announcement, and you could have it read to people. But use your statistic. Use some statistics somewhere in here. Like, did you know that the average, because mean is an average, the average time to get ready in the morning is 36 minutes. Well, if you use this, we're guaranteed that it'll cut 5 minutes off your time. Just you could do something like that. But I want to leave it open-ended. Think about what you've made and what direction we can go with it. So it doesn't have to be more than a little poster picture, or there's or a little blurb that or like a radio announcement that'd be 30 seconds to a minute. It doesn't have to be a half an hour long infomercial. And you are not required to mislead your audience. So you don't have to say people take over 90 minutes to get ready in the morning, because 2 people do. You could talk about the reality of your numbers and something that people might want to buy if they were in that situation. So that is the whole project. And then once you're done, once you have your document all made up, either your Google Doc or your PowerPoint presentation, or however you're planning on doing it, then you can submit it. Hope this was helpful, and feel free to shoot me an email if there are unanswered questions after this. Otherwise, have a good one. Bye.